everybody, UCAN Ministries here. Today we are here joined by Michael and Gerri Short. They'll talk about their ministry, and we're introducing a new series, taking people into the mission field, whether it's in your city, whether it's in your nation, or to the nations, and talking to people who have been on missions with us and some experiences they have had. Do you want to say anything, Bill?
So what we hope to do with this, that every person is called to do some kind of mission work, whether it's in your city, in the nation, or to the nations. It says every joint supplies. And we've been taking people in all three of them areas, Scotty, and we've seen God take people and take the gifts that's inside of them and blossom on a mission trip. And so when we do these series, we're going to hear from all kinds of people, all age groups, and you will find out that you fit in someplace. And this is the last days that we got to begin to move for God and do what God wants us to do. Back to you, Kathy.
So Mike and Gerri, tell us a little bit about your ministry.
So Prayer Through Praise is our ministry that we have just recently established, and it's part of encouraging encouraging people through prayer and through praise to be able to do what it is that God has called them to do. We've had such opportunity to do so many things, but actually Pastor Bill is actually, through going on a mission trip with them, he actually named Mike and I Prayer and Praise. And so when we were praying about it, that's the name that came up, because that is what we have been established in, is prayer and praise. So Prayer Through Praise, we want to encourage people to step into what it is that they're called to. We want to encourage people to be able to serve in their churches in a way that they learn their gifts and their callings, be able to train people to step out of their churches with what they've been trained and how they've been trained to be able to go into the marketplace. And that's, through different mediums, mentoring, through writing of songs, writing books, different stuff like that. So we're on the move with writing CDs. We're on the move with writing devotionals and books. Or not all of them have been fully created yet, but we are in the movement of doing all of that.
Another facet of this as well is videoing. And like Gerri said, with the audio and the praise and the worship, there's also videoing included with that. So we're doing like short commercials and stuff like that to promote stuff for churches, and then hopefully down the road we'll be able to teach these people how to do that and focus them in that direction.
Yeah. And mentoring people in prayer, and mentoring people in praise and worship, shall we say, to be able to fulfill the call that God has, because everybody is to pray and everybody is to praise and worship. Mm-hmm. So how do we mold those things all together to be able to help you move into what it is that you've been called to move? So.
Oh, that's great. So we have been on a mission trip with both of you together with your family, and we've been on mission trips with both of you separately as well. I just remembered, Mike, we had gone to Fort Seven with you.
That's right.
And also Shashasabi, Quebec. So that's, inside our province of Ontario. And then Gerri, we've gone internationally with you over to the Philippines, and you also went to Shashasabi, Quebec with us. Did you ever go Forts? Yeah, you were in Fort Severn too, but at a different time that Mike had gone as well. So Gerri, we'll start with you. You have been, like we just said, you've been on several mission trips. So which one of the trips, or you can talk about two trips if you would like, really stick out to you the most, and why would you say that?
Well, for an international one, Philippines is a big, it changed my life going there. But it was just how the team, we all come together, and how you guys were able to move and direct us in the areas that we were supposed to move and go into. And I found that internationally, well, in any missions trip, but things can shift and change so much. And being under your leadership, you were able to help the team get to where they needed to go and accomplish the assignments that were set before us to go. There were so many things that could have caused us to move from the left to the right, but we were able to stay on course.
That's really good. And so, like, you said it, going on the mission field impacted you personally. How would you say it changed yourself and even your family life?
Well, it caused me to build my relationship with the Lord, first off, because you can't go and do something like that out of yourself. You don't have enough of your own self to be able to move and do what it is that God has called you to do there, whether it be physically, emotionally, or spiritually. You really need to build that relationship. So it taught me to dig in and to take those times of quiet, even at home, bringing it back home and taking those moments when I could to just be alone with the Lord. Because back then, when I went, my children were younger and I was running a business. So those moments were very few and far between, just like when you're on the mission trip, it's very few and far between. So it helped discipline me to be able to see those moments and take those moments and step into those moments. It also changed me in a facet of, we live in a Western society where our needs are constantly met, no matter whether it's through the government, through our own work, whatever it is. And seeing that a lot of those communities, I'm going to say probably 98% of the communities that we stepped into, had to rely on the Lord. It just didn't come to them. The government wasn't there to help them. Seeing the children, how they were living, and that was normal and natural. And then seeing what my kids had at home, right? It just really changed me to say, what do I really need? What is it? Or do any of these things actually change my life as I know it as I move forward to God? And honestly, none of the stuff changes my life in a way that's going to be able to help move or give God the glory in the things that I do, such as clothing or types of furniture. And it's nice to have those things. And we are in a lifestyle in the Western society where we can have those things, but are we forsaking everything that God's asked us to do to have those things? That's the question that came front and forward for me.
That's great. And when you travel with a team, it's different than traveling, with your own family or uh, you know, just as a couple even. So just talk about, traveling with a team and how that forms through a trip too. Like, when you start the trip, you almost really don't know people because, you know, you see people in different places, but when you really, when you're staying in a house with someone, you actually get to know people a bit more. Talk about that a bit.
It's true, you do. Before you go, obviously we're doing prayer, we're doing preparations and fundraising and stuff. So you see people in a place of, exhilaration, excitement, passionate for what they think is going to happen. And then you travel the 17, 24 hours, whatever it is, the length on a plane, in an airport, how people react to different situations, how people learn to step back and let the leaders do what they need to do. You learn where it is that you need to constantly be with somebody because there's a protection to that. It changes you in a way that you realize you're not in this alone. And if you think you're going in there for your own self agenda and purpose, you've got something wrong in your thought process, because it's about the team coming together and using all those gifts and covering each other. No matter what happens, no matter what someone says, you're in there covering them and protecting them, never letting them be alone, praying for them, because we know the enemy's devices are trying to cause sickness and different things that may cause you to not be able to step out for the day to minister. You come together with your gifts gifts, making sure your teammates have been drinking water and eating and sharing devotional time. And you know what? Sometimes, I remember one time someone didn't bring enough just basic hygiene products such as shampoo and toothpaste, and for whatever reason the Lord had me pack extra. I don't know why, but I was able to be that team member that was able to supply that need in a natural way, right? And sometimes it's just, sometimes you also get to know them because you see them at church, you see them doing these things, and you kind of have this imagination of what their life is like. And then when you actually really get to know them, it's like, you know what, Lord? Yes, I'm here for the assignment that you set forth in Philippines, but this relationship here that I'm building is something that's going to last forever because I'm going back home with them, and you're able to see them in a light where, you know, maybe they have a testimony that will change your life. Maybe your testimony will change their life. Maybe there's a friendship that God is melding together. Um, you know, like, I mean, just you and me, Kathy, we have built a closer friendship, being able to talk, or being able to trust that that person's going to be there in the thick of whatever is happening, or to step up when you need them, or just to be able to pray with you in the quiet times, right? When you're back and something really intense has happened and you don't know how to work through it. Now, saying that, it's not about a guy and a girl getting together. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about, you know, my friendship with you as another woman. We can talk and about what's changed in our hearts and the different situations we've gone through, and be able to minister to each other through that way. So those are things that changed. I've, you know, just, I mean, like I said, with us, we've become quite close, and I believe that the mission trips have caused that to happen.
Yeah. And you know, one of the greatest things on a mission trip is watching God move through us into other people's lives. Maybe you have a story or a memory of seeing God move, or maybe a funny little story that happened on the trip. I'd give you the opportunity to share that right now.
I have many stories. But I remember the first time I went to the Philippines, I was in a room with another lady and someone that went on our trip. His daughter was in our room as well too, and the dynamics that were happening through that room, some days were ugly and some days were really, really great. And um, I don't necessarily talk to them all the time now, but I do think about them a lot. And just being able to, you know, in the hotel that we were able just to go downstairs because the three of us were together. We weren't alone. And the times that we just were able to sit and have a coffee and just hang out and get to know each other was quite amazing. I think about a time when our luggage got all messed up, things were happening, and we just all pulled together, and just seeing each other in their giftings of prayer, or comfort, or being able to be that person that could talk with the official people there that needed to happen. You saw the gifts come out. Um, yeah, those are some of the, I don't want to get into too much detail because there is a lot of personal stuff that happens between friends and stuff like that. But I remember Pastor Bill had pushed me out to teach on leadership stuff, and the lady that was in my room, can I say her name? Am I allowed to say her name?
Sure.
Okay, so Dolores, she had done a lot of this kind of stuff already, and she encouraged me and was like, Gerri, you go for it, you do it, because she knew how anxious and nervous I was, because this was the first time that I was going to be doing something like this, and I didn't think I had it in me. And even when I was doing it, I still didn't think I had it in me. And in the midst of me doing the teaching, the fear came over me, and I jumped back off the platform, and I remember Pastor Bill stepped in and took over, and I went and I sat beside her, and she's like, Gerri, you have more There's more in you. We talked about this. We have more. And Pastor Bill was so gracious. He let me step back in and finish what it is that the Lord wanted me to do. But that in itself, that she saw something in me, that there was a weak area in me, and that I was allowing fear to take over. I also remember the time where the young girl was being set free and delivered, and just even learning some techniques from her, and we're able to come back and laugh about some of the interesting things that happened. You can't do that. You can't have those types of things without being so close with other people and living through those experiences. And I'm not going to talk about the whole thing because that is that girl's testimony, not mine. But just seeing how Dolores walked through the deliverance and healing, it was like mentorship for me and teaching for me that I had no idea. So, and then just being able to sit and laugh in our room at the end of the day, or say, you know what, everybody's tired, we're just going to rest, and everybody's on the same page. There wasn't a lot of crazy girl stuff between Dolores and I. We were just able to, it's Doris, right? Or Dolores?
Doris.
Doris.
Sorry, keep going.
Oh, well, I changed her name.
Keep her name down.
But anyway, so that she changed my life by being there and being part of my new experience and challenges. So yeah,
And
I'll never forget.
And that's the greatest thing about working as a team, right? People can step up and in, and even when we would go into the houses, right? And it was like, does anybody have a word, or can, it was like, we always had, some were, some days you were tired, and somebody else would step up, like, it was amazing. It's amazing to work as a team, that it's not just the pressures on one person.
Right.
It's spread out through the whole group, and it gives God, like you said, it gives a person time to get used to it, and to move in it. And if someone was at home right now and said, I'm not qualified, or I'm not trained, or I don't have gifts, would you encourage them just to go ahead and try a mission trip at some point?
Absolutely. Even if you do one, it changes you for the better. I was just actually having a conversation with somebody about this last night, and they want to do missions, but they don't necessarily feel like they know what they have to offer. Well, lots of times you don't know what you have to offer until you step in and say yes and go. And then the things that you have to offer maybe surprise you, or there are things that you're already walking in, and that's where God needed those things to happen. Like your testimony. You could be talking to a young girl, and your testimony may help her have healing, or deliverance, or salvation, because you've been through some of the similar things, and you can minister that. Maybe you're a great cook, and that team needs somebody that can cook good food for you so you can keep moving. I mean, there's so many different things. I've cooked on different teams, going places. I've prayed for people on different missions trips. I've driven on different missions trips. I've done kids programs. So anything, as long as you say yes to the Lord, He will make a way where you think there's no way. He will open the gifts up that you've never thought you could ever do. So just say yes, just go, change your life, change your heart, go.
And we've just seen people too that just want to come and observe their first trip, and then maybe the next time they'll step out more,
Yes.
So yeah, I can't wait to go on another trip with you guys someday.
I'm so ready.